Hello, my name is Jacob Monk. Welcome to this little video program about American Catholic hypocrites. American Catholic hypocrites. And I've chosen 3 hypocrites, big hypocrites from America. You know, I'm a Catholic myself, so I look at a lot of Catholic video. And most Catholic videos from USA, they are very good. In America, they have a lot of very good theologians and a lot of very good Catholics. I think there are around 70 million Catholics in America. And of course, they produce a lot of video, a lot of agitation material, a lot of seminars, and so on and so forth. So, of course, I like the Catholic faith, but I don't like hypocrisy. And the 3 persons I'm going to mention here, they are first Mr. Robert Sirico. He's a so-called Catholic priest. 2 is Michael Voris. He is a Catholic agitator, leader of an organization called Church Militant. And 3rd, Mr. Tim Staples, a Catholic apologist that has made a lot of videos on the internet. They have a company called Catholic Answers. Maybe they are in association with some part of the American church. I'm not quite sure. But this organization, they have full-time employed Catholic agitators, and Tim Staples is one of them. Well, these 3 persons, they have pretended to be some kind American super popes. The first is actually a priest, Mr. Robert Sirico. But what is the problem with him? Well, until recently he was a practicing homosexual. I don't know if he was a homosexual prostitute. Maybe he was. But he tried to hide it. I know there are quite a few Catholic priests being homosexual. But when you're homosexual, you have a problem in the Catholic Church, because the Catholic Church thinks it's a sin to practice homosexuality. And of course, you got access to a lot of young men when you're a Catholic priest, because then you have to teach them. You have to listen to their confession. You have to be in some way spiritual, intimate with them. And one step further, to be also physical, erotical, intimate with them. Well, it's some kind of a temptation if you are a homosexual person. It's said by not by homosexuals, but by psychologists, that homosexuals, they have a hidden need, a drive to punish themselves. Especially when they are Catholics. They know it's a sin to practice homosexual. It's against nature, it's against common morality, and all kind of bad habits, bad morals, and bad politics is coming out of homosexuality. It's a very bad thing. And the homosexuals, they know it themselves. Therefore, they want to be punished, because in a psychological way, they want to have a punishment so they can feel they have paid their guilt of sinning. I don't know exactly what the motive of Robert Sirico was, but the only reason I know that this was his career path, is because it was told in one issue of the magazine given out by E. Michael Jones, another American Catholic, I think is a doctor in philosophy, and he writes a lot of books, very good books, and he's giving out a magazine called Cultural Wars Magazine. In one of the editions, they went through Robert Sirico and his institute, because he has an institute called Acton Institute, promoting Austrian economic, that is ultra-liberal economic. You know, ultra-liberal economics, it's a very, very good thing for the most powerful nation on earth, and that is USA. So therefore, USA, they always want to promote liberal economies, because then they can have their Hollywood culture, their Jewish newspapers, and their American propaganda put in the culture of any such country. I think the last example is Ukraine. They made an illegal coup d'etat a few years ago, and now Ukraine is somehow an American cultural colony in moral ways and also in all other ways. Well, Robert Sirico, he tried to hide his own past, and now he's trying to promote some kind of false church teaching, because the church teaching is not ultra-liberalism, not at all. Church teaching is middle of the road between socialism and liberalism. We are not collectivist, but we are either individualist. We are Catholics, and that is something else. Person number 2 is called Michael Voris. He was a practicing homosexual, maybe also a male prostitute, until a few years ago, maybe only 1 year ago. And at the same time, he had a company. He was earning money by claiming to be some kind of civil Pope in America, and correcting all the bishops and priests in America for not being Catholics the right way. Of course, Michael Voris, being a practicing homosexual person, he knows what it is not to practice Catholic faith the right way. But he's not correcting himself. Well, at least not in public. So I haven't heard it. But if you see his videos, and he has made many, many videos, hundreds of videos on the internet, there are accusations against the American Catholic Church and Catholic bishops and Catholic priests. He even traveled around with his video company and make direct video from outside this or that Catholic church, having another way of practicing the Catholic faith than Michael Voris likes himself. Well, I think that's not a way to be a good Catholic. Michael Voris, he has some kind of superiority complex. You know the Greek word hybris. He tries to be a top pope, a civil pope in America, even correcting the pope in Rome again and again. And this man, a former practicing homosexual, well, maybe he is practicing homosexual still, I don't know, is trying to correct the Catholics of America and, of course, the whole world. Person number 3 is called Tim Staples. His job is to propagate Catholic faith and to answer questions about the Catholic faith. He's not a homosexual. No, he's married. He has 6 children he brags about all the time. He was a Baptist minister before he converted to be a Catholic. And now he is more Catholic than everyone in America. He is top-level Catholic, the wisest Catholic probably in USA. Well, this is the image he has. And personally, I think he has a lot of good answers to the questions that they ask him. So I'm not against the work of Tim Staples and this organization called Catholic Answers. But there is one answer I don't understand, and the same problem I have with Michael Voris. You know, America is having wars against a lot of societies, a lot of countries all around the world. For example, the Iraq War. The Iraq War from 2011. In the Iraq War, according to official statistics, 1.5 million people were killed. There were also killed about 4,500 American soldiers. There was only a tiny fractions of the number of Iraqis killed. And now I listened a few days ago to one answer that Mr. Tim Staples had to one of the viewers. He asked, why is it illegal for Catholics to practice abortion when it is legal to practice war and to kill people in other countries? Well, Mr. Tim Staples was not able to give a decent answer. He said, well, the people being killed, the unborn children being killed by abortion, they are not guilty. Well, that's absolutely right. But how about the 1.5 million people in Iraq being killed by American Stinger missiles, bombers and NATO pilots with rockets and poisonous phosphor? Well, do you think they are guilty of something? Is that why you have to kill them? Remember that these Iraqis, they were Muslims, Catholics, they had all kind of religion. It's not because Tim Staples says it's okay to kill Muslims. No, he didn't say that. He said it's okay to kill any kind of people as long as they are not Americans. Because the answer from Tim Staples was, well, there are maybe 1 or 2 million Americans killed every year with abortion. And in Iraq, we only had 4,000 Americans killed. Well, maybe that's right, Mr. Tim Staples. But you also killed 1.5 million Iraqis. And they were totally innocent. You made an illegal war based on false claims, namely the claim that Saddam Hussein, Iraqis, they had weapons of mass destruction. They didn't have these weapons. But nevertheless, you continued the war and you haven't paid any kind of retribution. So you are still proud of all the Iraqis you have killed. The government in Iraq now is installed by the Americas. I don't think it's elected by a democratic election, not at all. But first of all, the American military killed 1.5 million people. And up to have the correct number, you have to think that the effects of a bombing campaign like that can not only be measured right away or within 1 year. You have to measure it within 10 years because there are a lot of following casualties, also following abortions when a country has been in war and has been bombed down to point zero by the American aggressors. Well, Tim Staples, you are bragging that you always sleep with a gun in your hand to protect your family. If you're a real Catholic, then you're protecting the whole world. The Roman Catholic Church is not a protective measure for America. It's a protective measure for humanity, and it's only a very small fraction of humanity that is living in USA. So you are a hypocrite. You think that American lives has more value than Iraqi lives. And at the moment, I suppose you are a follower of the American war against Syria. And in the future, there will be more coming illegal American wars and genocides against foreign countries. This is absolutely not based on Catholic faith. It's based on hypocrisy. So I see Robert Sirico, Michael Voris, and Tim Staples as American Catholic hypocrites. Thank you for listening.